Okay, we're here on the couch with a good friend of mine from Canberra, Matthew Napier. And Matt, you're doing a walk across Africa.
This is my second trip in Africa.
Yep.
Yeah, last year I walked across Africa from the west coast in Namibia.
Yes.
Through Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and finished in Mozambique. This year we're actually doing a walk the length of Namibia, starting on the South African border. We walk from there all the way up to the Angolan border. It's about 1,860 kilometres. And we go through the infamous Namib desert.
And so this journey of yours obviously is now in Africa. It's had a long past, 5 years ago you kicked off?
Yeah, 2012 was my first awareness raising campaign.
Yep.
I cycled from Perth to Canberra.
Yes.
It took about 6 weeks.
Were you a cyclist?
No, not at all.
What were you riding on?
Oh, I had a good trek bike, road bike.
Yep.
I've probably ridden it twice since.
Yeah, good. Oh, so you really got into riding after as a result.
Start of a career. But yeah, I wasn't much of a cyclist before then. Probably 3 months before, I thought, I really want to raise awareness of global poverty. How about I cycle across Australia?
So 3 months prior to you doing it?
Yeah.
So again, just to get this straight, there was a 12-week lead up to deciding to embark on a 4,000...
Yeah, 3,800 kilometre cycle. Yeah.
And with 12 weeks lead up.
Yeah.
And your rides prior in that 12-week period?
Oh, I started off, my first training ride was a 20 kilometre ride around Canberra.
Yes.
And I got home and I was asleep on the couch 15 minutes later. I woke up and I just thought to myself, how the hell am I going to pull this off?
Yeah.
But I slowly worked up.
Yeah.
And I was aiming to do like 80, 100k a day.
In training?
In training, yeah. So while I was away, I was aiming to do like 150.
A day?
Yeah.
And so in training, did that 80 to 100 eventuate?
Yeah, it did.
Did it really?
Yeah, I managed to get to 80 to 100, which is...
And you're riding every day in training?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 days a week.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And it was in Canberra. What time of year was the prep going on?
It was March. So we started off out right in April, so yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad.
That time of year.
Because Canberra's pretty frosty in the mornings for riding. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to be on a bike in winter in Canberra.
Canberra has got two groups of people these days, don't they? Politicians and cyclists.
Well, true.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You're either.
Even some of the politicians are trying to get into the cyclist camp as well.
And so now I'm just a bit intrigued on this lead time. Like, being humans, was it the first time you thought about raising awareness for global poverty to then doing that? It was 3 months?
Well,
that's intriguing.
Yeah, I'd been to Nepal in about 2007.
Yep.
I was just it was a Christmas day, I was just sitting around the dinner table, and a friend of mine, my brother-in-law's brother, lives in Nepal.
What was he doing over there?
He works for an aid organisation called the American Himalayan Foundation.
Yep.
And his mum wanted to go out and visit, but was too scared to go on her own. And I'd had a few too many beers and said, oh yeah, I'll come with you.
Yep.
And 3 months later I get this phone call. She goes, I better book these flights. And I said, what are you talking about? And so sure enough.
You had signed yourself up?
Yeah. So 9 months later we went over and spent Christmas in Nepal.
And whereabouts in Nepal?
Kathmandu.
Yep.
We stayed around Kathmandu, went a bit further south to Pokhara.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a life-changing experience for me.
And excuse my ignorance into Kathmandu and Pokhara. Why Pokhara? Why was that the aid agency's kind of spot?
Well, I spent a lot of time in the villages. They're the two biggest towns in Nepal.
Yeah.
So yeah, they sort of base themselves out of there and do a lot of field visits from there.
Yeah, right. And what type of aid were they doing?
Oh, a lot of just sort of helping people get access to fresh water, better food security, things like that.
Yeah, right. And as Nepal, is there an overriding theme that's happening in Nepal with regards to what's happening with their poverty cycle, etc.? Is it corruption similar to what's happening in Africa? Is it what are the? There
is a little bit of corruption. They've had a few problems with the government there over the last probably decade. They had the Maoist rebels come in and take over the government there for a while.
Yeah, right.
So that was a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
I remember one day we were actually in Kathmandu and the Maoists had come in from the mountains and they shut the city down. So you're not allowed to drive a car. If you're driving a car, they'll take your number plate and they'll come around and firebomb your car.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
bloody hell.
pretty scary. I thought, I'm just going to go in there.
And so they took over the governing of the country.
Yeah.
And did a bad job, I take it?
Well, probably not as bad as what we think.
Yeah.
It hasn't been too bad.
Are they still in power?
I'm not sure. I know they had elections recently, but I'm not sure if they stayed in power or not.
And so you got exposed to the world of foreign aid, I guess, at that point in time.
Yeah, first time I'd sort of seen extreme poverty firsthand.
And where were you in your life at that point? So you're a Canberra boy, born and bred?
Yeah, born and bred in Canberra.
So you're literally born in Canberra?
Yeah.
And grew up there. That's how we've come to know each other. Went to Maris Brothers. Graduated mid-90s? Yep. And talk to me about your experience through school.
Yeah, I enjoyed school. I was never a great student, to be honest.
In what way?
Oh, just academically.
Academically?
Yeah, my behaviour was never great. I was there more for the sports side than anything, to be honest.
You're a bit of a folklore. So obviously I'm 3 or 4 years younger, graduated 3 years later than you, and your reputation preceded you.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
On the cricket field and on the AFL field, it certainly did. And I certainly, I guess you wouldn't know, but I certainly looked up to you because you're a wicket keeper, very good bat. I think you scored a few tons, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I managed to score a couple in my last year there.
Yeah. And so, I was a wicketkeeper myself, and seeing somebody else being able to, wield a bat and do it quite well. And, technically, as a glovesman, you weren't the most technically correct glovesman going around, were you? But you never dropped things. You rarely ever dropped shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. Technically, I wasn't. It was funny. I only got thrown into the wicket-keeping role because our normal wicket-keeper broke his thumb about a month before a cricket carnival.
Oh, good one.
And the coach has gone, he wants the wicket keep, and I thought, I'll put my hand up and do it.
Yep.
Sort of guaranteed a spot in the side. It was funny, we went to our first cricket carnival as a keeper. I'd only been keeping for a month.
Yeah.
And I actually picked up fieldsman of the carnival.
There you go.
As a wicket keeper.
See?
Yeah, I was absolutely gobsmacked when they read my name out, that's for sure.
And see, when you're in cricket, right, if you don't complicate it too much, your primary goal is to catch the ball.
Yeah, that's
You can talk about all the technical crap you like, but at the end of the day, you catch the thing.
Yeah, and I did like to talk a little bit behind the stumps.
You did like, yes.
Yeah.
I think you used to wear a wide brim hat as well.
Yeah.
So, see? And then it just scored some runs. Did you get your cricket bat?
Yeah.
You got presented a cricket bat for scoring 100 at Maris back in the day?
Yeah.
Yep. So now, in terms of academics, it's just what, do you feel like school failed you, or you failed school in terms of academia? Like, do you think it's the structure that it was that didn't appeal to you?
No, I think it was... I'm solid blame for that.
Yep.
It was just my attitude towards the education.
Yep.
And you see that these days in Australia as well. People go, our education system's broken and things like that. I think it's just the kids' attitude to an education.
Yep.
If you gave people in third world countries the same opportunities as what we get here,
yep.
They'd be far ahead of what the Australians are here.
Yeah.
Because they see it as an opportunity to break the poverty cycle.
Yeah, privilege. Yeah.
So you can be a terrible student at school, but you can always just sort of fall into a job here as an apprentice or something like that, and like do some career out.
There's no consequences, are there, to really jacking about? And so, was there anything like at school that you felt contributed to, your attitude? Were you just a rebellious kid by nature?
Yeah, I was probably a rebellious kid. I was the class clown.
Yes.
I was king of the one-liners.
Yes.
I still am, I think. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. And my father passed away when I was 15, so I was in year 10 at school. So that was really hard to take at that stage.
Was it sudden?
Yeah, it was. He was just overseas, not overseas, in Perth, on a holiday with my mum. And we got a phone call one morning, and her dad was in hospital and had a heart attack.
Jesus.
And and that was the end, really.
And at that time, I guess, you're growing, you've got hormones. 15 is when you really become a man, isn't it? And looking up to, was he your main role model?
Definitely. Yeah, we were pretty close. So it was certainly a big shock to the system. I certainly didn't handle it well. Being 15, you sort of you want to be big and macho, not to be soon to cry about things or anything like that. But yeah, certainly went about it the wrong way.
Is that how you dealt with it? Just trying to block it out and compartmentalise it?
Yeah. And probably started drinking a bit too heavily at a young age, just to sort of block it out and take the pain away.
Yeah. And what happened like with your mum and you know the family unit? You got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Yeah.
I was the youngest by quite a fair way. So they'd all moved out, so it was sort of just me and mum. Mum handled it pretty well, but as well as someone can, I guess.
Is your mum still around?
Yeah, she is.
And on reflection, does she say that she handled it well, or was she blocking it out as in a similar way?
She may have been blocking it out a little bit.
Yeah.
She's very religious, my mother. So she's a big fan that Dad's gone to a better place, that's for sure.
Yeah. And was it, in terms of the family unit, was religion something that kind of underpinned the family growing up?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm probably the only one of the 4 children that goes to church on a regular basis now.
Yeah, right.
I really enjoy going there on a Sunday, and I kept telling the Father Richard it's a good chance for me to catch up on sleep for the night before, but I think it's really good for me.
Yep.
Just to sort of have that faith, and it sort of just helps me to get through.
Have you maintained it since school?
No, I lost it.
You lost it until how long?
Probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like I'd drift in and out of church. I'd probably go maybe once a month when I felt like it, but now, yeah, certainly every week.
Yeah, wow. And was there something that happened in your life that took you back there? It seems to be everything's lining up. 2012, you did the walk across Australia, got back to church. Was it that time in your life that something...
Yeah, it was when I was coming back from Nepal. I was just sitting on the plane. We were stuck at Bangkok airport, just waiting for the plane to take off. And I started to think about my life, and I thought, well, why should I be so lucky to come back to my privileged life here in Australia and leave these poor people behind, when the only difference is the country we're born into.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute lottery, the country we're born into. We could have even been born in Sudan, Ethiopia, Nepal, and not given the opportunities that we've been given. So it was from there I just sort of wanted to be a voice for the world's poor.
And so 2007 you came back, it started bubbling. Did you get the preparations in motion to be able to make things happen?
Well, 2007, yeah. I sort of came back and I was highly indebted on my house. I had a full mortgage, so it was really hard to take big chunks of time off.
Yeah.
Probably 6 months later, I met Wendy, who'd gone to be my wife, and she had a garden maintenance business. So it wasn't long after that I joined the garden maintenance business.
Yeah.
And yeah, we sort of said to each other, this is what we want to do with our lives. So we worked as hard as we could for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
We'd literally work sun up to sundown for 6-7 days a week, working 70 hours a week.
And the goal was to produce some sort of financial freedom in order to be able to then make a decision on what you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So we worked so hard, paid off a couple of investment properties. So we've got that rent coming in now, which sort of helps us while we're away.
Yeah. Yeah, great. And it's one of those things, isn't it? 70, 80 hours of work a week. Hard work does pay off, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
It is one of the things, like it's such a cliche that we try to have a go at the millennials these days and saying that they don't want to work hard, but I think a lot of them are, but it's just a case of that we have a bit of a chip on our shoulder, or the older generation always does. They never worked as hard as we did, but if you do work and you do put in the time, you do eventually get the rewards. It takes a long time though.
Yeah, it does, but yeah, you just got to work hard.
Yeah.
You will get there.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. And so you met Wendy around 2007.
Yeah.
This is all that period in your life was like the before and after. It seems.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a good year or a bad year.
Fast go.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I think 2007 was certainly a turning point in my life.
Yeah. Where were you working prior?
I was working as a bookie. Sports bookie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, where? At Canberra Racetrack or something?
Yeah, it was. So I enjoyed it.
Did you run your own?
No, I worked for a sports bookie.
Yeah.
I was sort of in charge of AFL, cricket and ice hockey.
Yes.
So.
Wow. Yeah. And so what, 5 days a week down on the ground or in behind the scenes? Like how does it work? They call? Like how? Pretty
much all over the phone, over the internet. So you've got to sort of monitor the prices, do your prices and things like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, try not to get picked off.
So is it all algorithms that you plug into the computer, or is it more you're knowing what the results
probably
likely to be?
Both.
Yeah.
It's a lot of research. Yeah, just sort of knowing trends and things
That
like
is intriguing.
Yeah.
Do you still follow all of that?
No. I don't bet at all anymore.
Too intense.
Yeah.
Too intense a world. It's a slippery slope.
Oh, it is. You see people that get in too deep.
Yeah.
We actually had one of our clients commit suicide.
Oh dear.
And that was sort of, I thought, do I really want to be part of this industry anymore?
Yeah. How bad is that side of it when you're exposed to the bookmaking side? Are the stories bad from the client's perspective?
Yeah, they are.
They get themselves in deep.
Yeah.
They get on credit lines.
It's like a drug. Really, it's so addictive gambling. You get some people that they gamble on literally every race, every sporting event. That's their life.
And they just constantly wanting to catch up.
Yeah.
And they're getting further and further behind. And the credit line industry. I mean, a bookmaker's got, obviously, let's say that yours was a stand-up, non-towards bookmaking company. But is there a black market of credit lines and just keeping people further and further in the hole?
Yeah, we had several clients that had $10,000-$15,000 credit lines. We had one that even had 50.
Wow. And is there a kneecapper that goes out with a baseball bat to collect their money?
Well, we never saw him, but the money did appear when it needed to be paid. So
yeah, bloody hell, strange industry. Yeah. And so then you went from that onto gardening.
Yeah.
That would have been a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it was. I always liked gardening as a kid.
Yeah.
Going into that industry was certainly a good change for me.
Yeah, cool.
I think also I was a bit chubby at that time. I got up to 104 kilos.
Yeah, right.
At one stage, so I was getting a bit chubby.
What was it from? From booze and food?
Pretty much, yeah. Drinking too much and eating too much food.
Yep.
104 kilos. I was always around 80. So getting out in the garden, that sort of helped me physically as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you lost all the weight over how long a period of time?
Oh, it probably took 18 months to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got back down to the mid-80s.
Exercising as well, or is it just...
Sort of fell off because I was working so hard.
Yeah.
You start work at 6 in the morning, you might not get home till 7:30 some nights.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, cool. And so you started working with Wendy after how long a period of you guys dating?
Oh, probably 6 months.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just jumping into it.
Yeah, it was.
Were you nervous? Were you nervous about combining work and pleasure?
Not really. I was still working as a bookie and I'd work for her a couple of days a week as well.
Yeah.
I was pretty comfortable getting into...
And were you guys going to the same jobs or were you going to different locations?
2 different teams.
2 different teams?
Yeah.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, it did. It was a bit of a break from each other. But should be in charge of one team and I'll be in charge of the other.
Yeah. And so it was at that time, and what you kind of came back to the church about 2012, so it was like a 5-year period of plugging away, putting your head down, doing solid investments, knowing that you've got to get to this particular point in your life, and then you made the decision, 2012, to pull the trigger.
Yeah, so we sold half our business when I cycled across Australia.
Yep.
We had someone run the other half, but 2013 I wanted to walk across Australia and thought, being away for 5 months, having someone run it, they can easily get up and walk away at any time. We wanted to sell it before we headed off.
Yeah, cool. So your first one, the cycling, so 12 weeks of prep.
Yep.
You're on a Trek road bike.
Yep.
Thin wheels.
Yep.
What did you ride across the country with?
That was the Trek.
That was the Trek. Yeah. So you weren't loaded up with gear, you had a support vehicle?
Yeah, we had a support vehicle.
And the support vehicle was Wendy?
Yep, she was driving the support vehicle, we had all our food and that in there. So.
Yep. And so she was driving behind you for protection, I guess, majority of the time?
We sort of leapfrog. This is how we do all our trips. Like in the morning I'll get up and jump on the bike or start walking at first light.
Yep.
She'll pack everything up, drive ahead from walking, probably she'll go 15k, set up breakfast and have breakfast and sort of leapfrog.
Yeah, right. So you get a few hours done in the morning. Or so cycling, you'd get an hour out, have brekkie. Yeah,
cycling you get probably 2 hours out, so you get 50k under the belt before brekkie.
Yeah, wow. What time are you kicking off each morning?
First light, so 5:30. We'll try and hit the road.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, it is. But so you've got to be disciplined on these things.
Yeah. Have you always been that way?
Disciplined?
Yes.
No.
In terms of training and stuff. So you're a really good AFL player.
Yeah.
Were you a good trainer?
No, awful. I still am.
So how did you get the habits? What things did you do to get the habit of doing, or was it just a mental change?
It's probably a mental change. I went through a couple of bad periods through my life after my father passed away as well. And I think that really built my mental toughness. I had 3 guys out of my footy club that passed away in 2 separate car accidents in a 6-month period.
Yeah.
And a couple of years later, my best mate I ever made out of footy passed away in his sleep. So that was a really tough period for me.
Wow. How old were you when that was happening?
I was 23 when he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just completely turned off sport after that. I just wasn't interested in playing anymore.
Because of making the relationships, losing the relationships?
Yeah, it was pretty hard to take, so...
Yeah. And so what did you put, what did you replace that with? What was the void, the vacuum?
Just late nights out.
Drinking?
Yeah, just drinking way too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How long did that last for?
Probably be pretty close to a decade, I would have thought.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is it a bit of a blur?
I wasted from 20 to 30, yeah. Sort of regret it, to be honest.
You kind of ended you up here though, ironically enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whilst it is a decade, it's probably just a little bit of hair loss.
Well, you can notice that?
A little bit. It's the light, it's the glare that's going on. No, but these are the strange things, like, you know, talking about regrets. You wouldn't be doing this now, probably.
Fully agree. Yeah, even though it was really tough what I went through in that period, looking back on it, I'm sort of glad I did in a way.
Yeah. Because drinking is an unusual thing where, you know, when you get into a dark spot, drinking comes on. I've certainly gone through it in my life. You know, university, I drank a lot to escape, and when I was in England, I drank a lot to hide my insecurities about not having many friends, and you know, all of these things that alcohol becomes a bit of an escapist thing, right? But the irony is that it's kind of assisting you to get to rock bottom.
Yeah, it's like a bad share price.
Yeah.
If you look at a bad share prices chart,
Yep.
it keeps going down, you might have a peak or so, you might feel good every day.
Yeah.
But if you keep drinking, you're going to hit rock bottom at some stage.
Yeah.
And it's how you rebound from it.
And it certainly does help you get to rock bottom in order, you know, to hopefully climb out. And, you know, there are obviously better ways to deal. There are obviously better ways to deal, but sometimes that's just the journey. That's just the journey of life.
Being blokes, we're really bad at talking.
Yeah.
I think we're getting better these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were pretty bad.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Back in my day.
There is this thing that, and you know, nearly every bloke will agree to some degree. But whenever guys get together, we're drinking, watching sports, or chasing women. And normally we're talking about one of those 3 while we're doing the other one.
Yeah, so true.
And it's kind of the trio, and there is this lack of you know, habit and lack of exercising the verbal conversation about what's actually going on in our lives and what's actually you know, affecting us. And I think it's the being uncomfortable is because we don't do it very much. It's not because it's you know, not macho. It's just because we don't do it. We're not good at it.
Yeah, it's not part of our culture at all.
No. I wonder if that permeates through most countries, or if that's very much a thing that's intensely... I think it is intensely Australian male. I think that other countries do it to some degree, but I think in Australia we really do it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
And so now, the drinking... what, went for a decade? Took you through to 2007, I guess?
Well, I gave up 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So what's that, probably
2010?
Yeah, so I was drinking a little bit after I met Wendy for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
She nearly walked out on me after 6 months of marriage.
Because of...
Yeah, I was just drinking too much. And
when did you guys get married?
2009.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you still, you dropped the weight, but
I was still a bit podgy at that stage. I was still about 90 kilos.
Yeah.
So I was about 6-7 kilos heavier than what I am now.
Yeah. Did you guys have to go through counselling and stuff to get yourself together?
No, I didn't. I just sort of came about one night. I just said to myself, I don't want to live this life anymore. I'm a better person than this. I sort of dragging her down, and just one night I just decided, look, that's it.
Were you on your own when you had that epiphany?
I was, yeah.
Drinking?
I was, funny enough.
Yeah.
I was sitting there at my computer and having a bottle of wine, just listening to YouTube and playing some songs.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I don't want to live this life. There's a big world out there to take on. And Yeah, I want to make the world a better place while I'm here.
Now, were you guys still living together, still married together at that stage? I mean, obviously the marriage has survived all of this, but I take it probably wasn't an ultimatum as much as it was just her displeasure with how things were going that assisted to wake you up?
Yeah, I think so. I think I just sort of looked in the mirror and just thought, what kind of person are you at the moment?
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, you're better than that. And
did you have health problems with your drinking?
Oh, not really. But yeah, I'd obviously drink far too much. I'd clearly go through a bottle of wine each night. Yeah. And probably on the weekends a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. And certainly a lot of people can resonates with a lot of people because, it's funny how one glass turns into two, turns into a bottle, especially with those large red wine glasses. You can pour one glass and it's half a bottle of wine and, it does disappear. So now, in terms of that period between 2007 to 2012, you kind of got your shit together?
Yep.
Did you go cold turkey?
Yeah, I did.
Like after that night, it's just...
Yeah, pretty much. I remember the night very well. It was the final of the French Open.
Yes.
When Rafael Nadal was playing Robin Soderling.
There you go.
Yeah.
You literally remember the night.
Yeah, I remember the night very clearly. Well, I did have a bit of a bet on Robert Soderling to win the comp at 66-1, so I was a bit disappointed he lost the final, but I remember it well.
Yeah, right. And have you had a drink since?
No, haven't touched a drop.
That's incredible. Wow. Do you ever? I don't mean jealousy out of any strange way, but do you ever wish you could?
Oh, sometimes. Sometimes. Not drinking. Drinking's a bit of an escape. When you're not, just chat about crap with the boys.
And what do you replace that with now?
Nothing.
Just drink water.
Yeah, drink water.
Do you still go to those events to let your hair down, but you just have Diet Coke and water?
Yeah.
That is the big psychological shift, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. First up, it's really tough. Your mates are going, oh, what are you not drinking for?
Yeah.
And it probably took them 12, 18 months just to sort of understand that. Didn't want to be that person that woke up every morning with a hangover.
Yeah. The trip across Australia, how much planning went into it?
Not a lot. Just jumped on the bike in Perth and just sort of headed across. My wife obviously planned a lot more than me.
Is she the planner in all of your trips?
Yeah, she is.
Yes.
I'll work out what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But she'll sort of go down to the nth degree and sort everything out for us.
That's cool. So she's like your travel agent to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
Philanthropic adventurer is probably your job title now.
Yeah, I'd say it would be.
Yeah.
I just love helping people that are worse off than us.
Yeah.
I remember there was one day actually on the cycle. I think I was about 7 or 8 days in. We had the wind behind us the first week.
Yeah.
So we're cycling 150, 200k a day, averaging about 30 kilometres a day.
That's great. Yeah.
It was great. I'm thinking, I'm 1,000k in. I think this is so easy. And then I was just riding along one day and the wind changed. It was in my face.
You're going, what, 14 kilometres an hour?
I was sitting at about 16k an hour,
Yeah.
working twice as hard.
Yeah.
Got to about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and where I wanted to get to was still 40, 50k up the road. And I didn't get there. And I just sat there that night. I thought, I failed today. I lost. And I thought to myself, if I'm going to turn my life around, you've got to not make excuses. So from that day on, I said, wherever I want to get to that night, I've got to get there. And there's no regrets at all. And I was tested, I think it was 2 days later. We had to ride from a place called Eucla to the Nullarbor Roadhouse. It's about 180, 185k. Started off at 5:30 in the morning. We had this rain in our face, a really strong breeze in our face. It was just an awful day for riding. But I got to lunchtime, I still had 90k to go. I was utterly exhausted.
Oh, wow.
And I just kept pushing. And I thought, I'm going to get there. Doesn't matter what I go through for the next 5 or 6 hours, I'm going to get there.
Yep.
So I kept on just sort of counting down the Ks, 80, became 70, and yeah, I was so exhausted. And I got to about 5:30, and I still had about 20k to go, and I thought, nah, I'm not going to stop. So I got there that night. I got there right on dusk, and I was so tired, it was ridiculous. I literally jumped off the bike, let the bike against the petrol bowser, and just sat there for like 10 minutes. I honestly couldn't move, I was exhausted. But it taught me a really good lesson. Yes. If you put your mind to something, it's amazing what you can achieve.
There's a term that Dean Carneses had. I was actually listening to another physio's podcast, Brad Beer, and this dean is an ultramarathoner, and this thing comes into his head: death before DNF. Death before DNF.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of truth to that.
Yeah, you just say you go on that one singularity.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to give up.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to worry about.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you just
don't give up.
And people go, oh, how do you do this? And I think once you get that mindset of failure is not an option, it's amazing what you can achieve. I remember that night at the Nullarbor Roadhouse, as I said, I was absolutely stuffed. About 10 minutes later, I had to get up and go across and have a shower. And my missus is a bit tight with the money. And it was $1 for 3 minutes in the shower. So she gave me $2. And I said, come on, please. I was so dehydrated. So I took in $10 and literally just fed it like a problem gambler playing pokies. Just to get this
water.
half-hour shower. Because I was wrecked. I just sat at the bottom of the shower and just let the water just hit me for like 10 minutes.
Isn't there? It's an incredible thing to shower after doing something like that. Isn't there? I remember my shower after doing the Port Macquarie, and it's like nothing else.
It revitalises you.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And you know, going back to your trips in Africa, it's something that bloody hell, it's a luxury.
Oh, definitely.
We just take it for granted.
Oh, I know sometimes in Africa you don't have a shower for 10 days.
Yeah.
They could smell in a different postcode.
Doesn't the smell eventually go away?
Well, you don't notice it, but others do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you don't go into self-cleaning mode like an oven. You get so dirty that the dirt starts falling off you.
No, definitely not. But it's just part of it. You just got to put up with it.
So that mindset of death before DNF and just failure is not an option. Do you reckon that was kind of brought into you as the hardships with your mates passing away, your dad? Do you think all of that was building you up to that moment of knowing that you just would never give up?
Yeah, I sort of look back on my 20s to 30s and just really underachieved in my life. And then I sort of turned around and thought, no, I want the next 10, 15 years to I'm going to overachieve and sort of make up for it. And I think we're sort of doing that now, which is really good. But I just think it's so, like, you have some mates that are no longer with us. You sort of feel as if you're doing a bit in their honour as well.
Yeah.
Because I know they'd be right behind me if they were still there.
Yeah, cool. So the fundraising for the first one, you did it for World Hunger?
Yeah, all my events have been for global poverty.
Yep.
The first couple were actually just awareness raising campaigns, just to try and get the Australian government to do a little bit more in alleviating extreme poverty around the world.
Yeah.
So the cycle and the walk across Australia were both for that.
Yeah, brilliant. And in terms of the awareness, has there been any changes from that, from the awareness campaign? Can you go into any detail about, how's the Australian government going on their bit?
Yeah, the Australian government's pretty disappointing at the moment with its foreign aid policy. We've cut foreign aid the last 4 years, and we're now at the lowest level ever since records began in, I think, 1974.
As a percentage of our
gross national income.
Yeah.
So I think we're down to 0.2% now. You've got countries like England that are giving 0.7%, which is part of their legislation. And you've got countries like Sweden that are giving 1.4%.
Right.
The frustrating thing is, like, Australians as a median, for 5 of the last 6 years, we've been the wealthiest in the world.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for us not to be doing our fair share.
Yeah. And where do you see the changes that to be made? Do you think that it needs to be, a private shift if the government's not going to do it? Do private people need to, start raising the bar and doing their bit? And how would you suggest, or how would you suggest things, start to change from our backyard?
I think it's hard because we're such an isolated country. We don't have extreme poverty on our back door. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are of the belief that we shouldn't be helping people overseas. We've got so many problems in our own backyard. Yep. But I met a lady in Mozambique last year. She had 4 children. The eldest had passed away. The second had a mental illness, couldn't sleep with her in the house. And our house was only a 2x2 metre corrugated iron shed. So he had to sleep in a tarpaulin next to their place. The third child had HIV/AIDS. And the fourth child was a victim of a hit and run and was paralysed from the waist down.
Oh my God.
And she'd only get the equivalent of $7 a month from the government to sort of help with her living expenses. Yeah. And that was when the government could afford to pay. Yeah. And maybe people like that just really opens your eyes to how well we've got things off here in Australia. Even the poor now. in this country we've got things pretty well. We've got a fantastic Medicare system.
It's different level, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just a different level.
And you've got welfare system here that's great. You've got the Red Cross, Salvation Army, St Vincent de Paul, helping the world's poor here, and they just don't have that overseas.
Yeah. So your first African trip was last year?
That was I went to Africa in 2013 after my walk across Australia.
Yeah.
We worked on a project in Malawi.
Right.
It was an Earthship project, which is sort of a sustainable living structure, which was really good to work on. There was 50 volunteers from all around the world, and we spent 2 weeks working on that. So that was really good. Opened my eyes up.
And so what was the idea behind that?
It's a sustainable living structure. So what it is, it's like a little community hub. So you've got like 6 to 8 rooms where people come. You've got a daycare centre there, a little primary school, a little bank as well.
Yeah, right.
So people can access low interest loans to sort of help with their agriculture.
Like micro loans? Is that the kind of micro lending?
Not so much micro lending, but very similar. Yeah.
And was that to be, duplicated and replicated in Malawi?
They won't duplicate that exact program, but something similar, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We've funded several projects through Malawi, and we've teamed up with a great organisation there called Empower Malawi.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of faith in what they do over there.
Yeah, cool. And what kind of things? So Empower Malawi have got a lot of different projects that they're trying to get funded.
Yeah, that's right.
And the one that you're involved with this time is?
We're working in a couple of schools about permaculture and better food security through permaculture, which is really exciting. We try and do it around the school so the kids have got something to eat when they go to school, and also encourages them to go to school as well.
So am I reading it correctly that essentially so Empower Malawi are coming in to educate both kids, parents, the broader community in ways to have sustainable agriculture, sustainable farming practices that as individuals they can do in order to feed themselves? Is that?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's one of those things. Before this chat, I was doing my research, and one of the fascinating things about aid is the lack of focus on education historically, and the major focus on material supply, and the material supply has unintended consequences that we don't understand sometimes. And they've talked about if we're pushing shit tons of wheat into a certain country, inadvertently you destroy their wheat industry and you put farmers out of business because you're supplying it for nothing, and farmers are trying to grow wheat.
Yeah.
And I remember reading about shirts. That there's a chap in the States trying to bring 1 million shirts a year into Africa to help them clothe, but they're putting all the textile manufacturers out of business.
Yeah. So true.
And there's a really, really bizarre thing where what the non-tangibles are, we can't touch it and feel it. Education will be, I think, the thing that really gets them out of shit. And there's 2 cups of tea, the book written.
Yep.
3 cups of tea.
I think it was 3 cups.
3 cups of tea.
Yeah.
So ex-climber got helped out of the Karakoram province in Nepal, or Pakistan, I think.
Pakistan, you're right.
And so he goes back every year to continue to build schools. And empowering them through that way. So Empower Malawi, by doing these education programs, I think that's the kicker, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Empower, they go into the communities and they talk to the community about what they want.
Yep.
And they certainly work together on what's the best way to help them break the poverty cycle.
Yep.
So you can go in somewhere and build a school. A lot of people from developed countries go, they need a school, go and build a school. There's no use building a school if A, they can't get access to the school.
Yep.
And B, there's no teachers.
Yep.
So a lot of these schools that they build in the developed world, or we go over and build, end up being hay sheds and things like that. Because there's no one there, no teachers.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And then you've got this structure that deteriorates, and it's more expensive to upkeep than it is. So in terms of that two-way conversation with those communities, that's where it all should start. And we touched on this on the drive over, that going into the communities and asking them what do they need. Can you elaborate on these communities in Africa? What are they saying they need?
Well, we sort of look at going to the community and see what assets they've got and sort of work with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big fan that everyone should have access to the 4 basics in life, which is fresh water, food, healthcare and a basic education.
Yep.
So it's sort of about working out how we can make sure everyone in that community gets those 4 basics. Yeah, so you sort of go in and sort of think, okay, they've got fresh water. Can we use that water now to sort of have more sustainable food through the place, through permaculture? And then, yeah, is there a school around? Are there kids that, there are teachers there that can manage the school? So you can sort of think, okay, if we've got water, then we can grow crops. Can we sell those crops at a bit of a premium to employ teachers in the school? And then, sort of work.
So it's more local project based, because obviously the corruption in Africa is obscene. And for what does foreign aid get pushed into local projects, or does it generally get given to the regimes? Like, I'm interested to, I guess, learn the flow of money. You know, does the flow of money go to Mugabe in Zimbabwe, or does the flow of money go to someone like Empower Malawi? Or
it goes to the aid organisations that are working in there.
Yeah.
And when you say there's a lot of corruption in Africa, don't get me wrong, there is. But Africa's a huge place.
Yes.
It's like
it's a billion people in Africa.
Yeah. It's 11,000 kilometres from the top of Africa to the bottom.
Yeah.
That's 3 times from Sydney to Darwin. So it's a massive
huge
place.
area.
So people go, there's all war in Africa. But that might be just an isolated spots. There might be, like, there's a war in Darwin at the moment, but it doesn't affect anyone here.
Yeah.
I remember walking across Botswana last year, and I think Botswana's had 2 murders there in 3 years.
Is that right?
The police don't even carry guns. It's a very peaceful...
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a different, I guess it's a different perspective from what we're used to being fed. We kind of watch Blood Diamonds and, you know, certain films that shine a spotlight on one section, but then you're dead right. That one section is a tiny little part of a broader picture.
And people always say, you're worried about going to Namibia this year. I'd be safer in Namibia than I would be in Australia. The only issue is the northern part of the walk this year, we might come across a few desert lions. But other than that, there's no issue there at all.
So generally you don't need to worry about border crossings and you know, gorillas and things like that?
Not where we're going.
Right.
Not this year anyway.
Yeah.
Next year might be a different story, but yeah.
And the one that you went from you know, east to west, west to east, west to east. Did you encounter any issues there?
Namibia, Botswana, no.
Yep.
We had a bit of an issue in Botswana. I remember walking into Botswana and I handed over my passport. And the lady goes, Mr. Napier, we've been expecting you. And I thought, geez, I'm in trouble already. I'm not even in the country. What's going on here? So she took my passport out the back. We're probably there 10, 15 minutes. And she came back and she brought about 7 of her work colleagues with her. And they wanted to walk the first 7 kilometres with me into Botswana to the first town. So they literally shut down the border crossing for the next 2 hours.
How good is
I
that?
don't think anyone got to Botswana for the rest of that day.
How do they? So now your trips are organised mostly by Wendy.
Yeah.
How much forward planning is there with regards to authorities, local communities, local government organisations, etc. To, you know, how did they know you were coming?
Yeah, we spoke to the Botswanian High Commission here, and they're lovely people there. And we just told them what we're doing. We rang them up a month before and said, look, does anyone know we're coming? This and that. They go, you'll be looked after. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sort of give us much. But they were right. They told all the chiefs there who were walking through.
Yeah, wow.
And that first night, we slept near a service station. And about 5 o'clock in the morning, we were awoken by this guy going around on a ute with a megaphone, speaking his native tongue. I couldn't understand any of it.
Yep.
And I said to my wife, I said, this is ridiculous. We're trying to sleep here. And she goes, listen a bit more carefully. So I could make out 2 words. One was my surname, Napier, and the other was Australia. I thought, geez, what are they up to here? So what he was doing was going around the whole village, telling people to come to their kotla, which is their meeting place, and welcome me into the country at 9 a.m. that next morning. And the chief was there, the whole village was there. They did a lot of their native dancing. Absolutely amazing.
Wow. And you had no real forewarning that they were going to do that?
It happened in a lot of the villages we went through.
Incredible.
Yeah, we were treated like rock stars in Botswana.
How good. And what about the communication, the tongue? Mostly, people that are educated can speak English?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
English isn't too bad across Namibia, Botswana and South Africa. Mozambique's Portuguese, so yeah, that certainly made it a bit tougher.
Yeah. Did you speak any Portuguese?
No, not at all.
Google Translate?
Well, yeah, I probably could have done that.
No reception.
In hindsight. It's funny you should mention there's no reception. Walking across South Africa, there was not one black spot. I was in reception
Really?
the whole time. Yep, 750k, not one black spot.
I can't get it. I have a black spot on my way home here on the Upper North Shore.
I've got one sitting on my toilet. That's what I do on my Facebook and my Twitter. It's awful.
I like to call it shitbook because I'm always using it when I'm on the toilet.
Yeah, that's it.
But incredible. So South African technology, you've thumbs up for their reach.
Yeah, definitely.
And you obviously get local plans. Is there an African plan for your phone? Like
Different for every country.
different for every country.
So you need to get a different SIM card every time
Yeah.
across the border.
And when you did your first African one, who did you speak to help you figure out what to do?
We sort of went a little bit cold, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, we spoke to the Australian consulate in Namibia. We were sort of given his contact details.
Yeah.
I went and spoke to my local federal member, Andrew Lee.
Yeah.
He sent a message to Julie Bishop about what I was doing. And when Julie Bishop sends a message out to consulates, things sort of start to happen a little bit. So we're pretty well looked after. But yeah, we sort of went in pretty cold.
So it was literally, basically you just got 2 points on the map.
Yeah.
Went and started visiting the consulates to a degree,
Yep.
and then booked your tickets, and things fell into place.
We just started walking, yeah. So,
And that's just what happens.
yeah, it is.
It's just so. I guess the essence is you can overthink the piss out of everything, can't you?
Oh, definitely. As I was saying, we're in Botswana and I'd done all my research. I knew we weren't walking through any game parks. And I was getting my passport stamped and the lady goes, "Oh, you get eaten by a lion across that route." I thought, yeah, good one, that's funny. Like if someone came to Australia, I'd say, "Hey, a kangaroo's going to get you." And then I got my passport stamped on the other side of the
Yep.
desk and they hadn't heard the conversation. He said exactly the same thing. So I'm thinking, oh, geez, this is a bit of an issue. And what I didn't realise was in Botswana, they've got game parks, but they're actually unfenced.
Ah, right.
So the lions can just roam
Yeah,
one
cool.
game park to the next.
Yeah.
So the Botswanian government sent 2 people out to camp with us for the 5 nights through what we call the danger zone.
And again, you didn't need to organise that.
They organised all that for us.
They did it all for you.
Yeah, it was the last minute thing as well.
You could imagine like somebody from Botswana coming and saying they're going to walk across Australia. Well, our government wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, you're right. But in saying that, you don't want someone walking across your country and getting eaten by a lion. It's pretty bad PR.
Probably pretty bad PR, especially coming from Australia.
Yeah, definitely.
Damn those Botswanian lions. They train them that way.
Yeah,
And so, your first mission across Africa was a success.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we raised just over 60 grand.
Yeah. Were you happy with it?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. We funded 4 separate projects within
Yeah.
Africa.
Did you have a set goal prior to?
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, we wanted to raise 60 grand.
Yep.
So yeah.
And same from the Australian crossing as well. Did you? It was more of an awareness
Yeah,
one.
the Australian crossing was literally raise awareness.
Yeah.
We had about 140 media outlets do stories on us, so
Yeah,
it was
cool.
really successful.
Yeah, awesome. And so the 60 grand was Empower Malawi was.
No, they weren't
They
from
weren't
last
part-
year. They're a new one this year.
Was it what you did? Desal? Sanitary.
Water sanitation
Yes,
plan.
yes.
One in Mozambique and the other one in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
We had another project in Kenya through Fred Eyes,
Yes.
which was allowing kids to get their eyes checked at a camp that we set up.
Yep.
And also we had kids in Zimbabwe, just sort of helping them through school and a bit of vocational training to sort of help them with education going forward.
Yeah, right.
And they were kids that suffer from HIV/AIDS. Yeah.
Yeah, so talking a little bit more about Africa, so there's something in the order of 1 billion people on the continent. I think 250 million pretty much are either malnourished or in complete and utter, food poverty.
Yeah.
What are the numbers? And a few of the ones that I know. The average amount of children that a sub-Saharan African will have is 5.2.
Yeah.
That's an incredible large amount.
It's huge.
Because they're losing children through death
Yeah.
and famine and poverty. They also need them to assist in day-to-day things like ferrying water, etc. And with regards to HIV and AIDS, it's obviously quite high. But are the numbers getting worse?
Well, you say in sub-Saharan Africa, people have on average 5.5 kids, but people are educated, basic primary school education up to year 6,
Yep.
that number drops quite significantly.
There you go.
It's about 3.5.
Yep.
So it goes to show how important education is.
Yep.
We have halved the amount of people living in extreme poverty since 1990.
Oh, wow.
We've made a big inroads into it.
Yep.
But it's something we can't take.
Halved in percentage terms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the country's growing in terms of the population is I think it was 200 million in 1950, and we're at 1 billion now. So it's 60 years, 5 times increase in population. So the numbers are staggering, though, aren't
they are. You look at the world now, how quickly the population's growing.
Yeah.
Other than economically, is there any reason as to why we are allowing the population to grow so quickly?
It's shooting up pretty quick.
Yeah.
It is shooting up pretty quick.
Look, even our hometown in Canberra, it's essentially a new suburb going up every week.
There definitely should be some sort of population control in Canberra.
You don't want any more politicians, do
You
you?
don't want any more politicians, no, thank you. So now let's get on to this trip. So talk us through how you selected the trip, what the trip actually entails, how you've gone about organising, various aspects of it, and are you playing it off the cuff like you were the rest of them?
This year's trip was interesting. I was walking across Botswana and this South African guy just pulled over on the side of the road and had a bit of a chat to us. And I wanted to know if we were alright because my wife Wendy was at the car and we were walking off down the highway.
Yep.
And he pulled over and sort of had a bit of a chat and we sort of became friends and stuff like that. And he ran tours through the Namib desert. And he goes, oh, you should do a walk through the Namib. So when we finished our walk in Johannesburg, we met up with him again, had dinner, and put together a bit of a proposal for next year. We're trying to work a route through Namibia. And the idea was that he was going to come on board as a support crew. So he said, oh look, you don't only have to pay for your food and your petrol and things like that. So we kept emailing each other and stuff like that. And we got a quote for the trip. And it came back at $90,000 Australian. And we was like, this is ridiculous.
Oh, no.
And we were already advertising that we're going to do this walk through Namibia.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we're still going to do it, but we're going to have to do it on our own because it's just way too expensive. So we went back to him. He gave us a revised quote. It was still 70 grand. It's just like, nah, sorry, but we can't.
How many months are you going to be over there?
The walk would take 7 to 8 weeks, and we'll spend another month in Africa after.
Yeah. And what do you like? How much do you budget for these types of trips? Do you have an expedition budget that you have set, or is it let's just do it as cheaply as we can for that goal in mind?
Yeah, we do it as cheaply as we can. Me and my wife, we fund all our projects ourselves.
Yeah.
So every dollar we raise goes directly to our charity partners. But yeah, we sort of do it as cheap as we can. So we bought a vehicle this year.
Yeah.
So we don't have to hire one. Because hiring one last year cost us about 8 grand.
Yeah, wow.
So you might as well buy a vehicle for 12.
Yeah.
Still got it at the end.
Yeah.
And we'll use it again for next year.
Yeah. Where will you store it?
We're going to house it in Namibia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll obviously make a friend up there.
Oh, easy to make friends in Namibia. They're the friendliest race of people you'll come across.
How good.
Yeah, beautiful.
And so that chap who essentially is financially bailed on you.
Yep.
So you've decided to do a similar route.
Yeah, we want to go through the Namib desert. Like the Namib desert's, some people call it the toughest desert in the world. It gets like 10 mil of rain a year.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, it's really tough. So we've got sand dunes that are 250 metres high.
Yeah, right.
So we're going to spend probably the first 3 weeks walking through the Namib desert, and then we cross it, and then we head along the Skeleton Coast for about 350k.
Skeleton Coast. Explain.
Well, it's got that name for a couple of reasons. There's been about 1,000 shipwrecks along that coast over the years.
Wow. Just because of the ferocity of the sea, or because it's so black and dark and...
Just because of the sea.
Bloody hell. So the skeletons of shipwrecks all up and down. Is it quite a large tidal beach all the way through?
It is, yeah. And it's quite interesting because you make it to, if you get shipwrecked, you make it to shore, you're only going to last a couple of days. There's nothing there.
Yeah, right.
So it goes from ocean to sand dunes.
So what are you guys doing in terms of protecting yourselves?
We don't really need to protect ourselves.
What if you break down?
I'll just walk to somewhere. We should be right.
What's the longest period in between towns?
I would have thought probably 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you'd have enough gear to be able to hike?
Yeah,
for a
we'll
couple
have
of weeks?
enough food and water.
Are you having a sat phone?
No, we haven't planned on it.
I think somebody needs to donate a sat phone within the next 4 days.
Yeah, it's something I'm not really that worried about.
Yeah.
We'll have enough food there, so if something bad does happen,
Yes.
they'll know where we are.
Well, that's a good point, because you'll be checking in on your website.
Yeah. You're checking our website. People are expecting us at Walvis Bay, which you should get there in about 2-3 weeks' time.
Yep.
And if we're not there, that'll sort of
Alert.
flag a few people.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
And so, are you handy mechanic?
Awful. Yeah.
Is Wendy a handy mechanic?
No, we're awful, so I need a bit of luck.
You know how to change a tyre?
Yeah, I know how to change a tyre. I've actually tried to start to do a bit more around the house, like car-wise, myself now. Instead of getting a mechanic, sort of just do a little bit myself.
Because I would imagine that you would need to do air filters. You'd have to be able to change the filters and stuff going through a desert.
Yeah, we're going to stay a bit on the gravel, graded roads.
Right.
Obviously, we'll go through a few sand dunes and that, but
Yes.
yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. It'll be pretty similar to the terrain we went through last year.
Yeah, okay. And then when you go over onto the Skeleton Coast, is there a road that goes alongside it?
I think there is. Not 100% sure. I don't like to over-plan things. I like to be an adventure. So
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess worst case scenario, what kind of car are you getting?
an Isuzu dual cab.
Isuzu dual cab. So that's what is it? What's the no, BT50 is the Mazda.
Yeah.
What's the model of the Isuzu?
Don't know.
No. It would have four-wheel drive, no doubt.
Yeah, it's got food.
So you just drive on the beach. You'll be fine.
Pretty much. Shouldn't be too much.
How much fuel do you take?
Well, obviously, we can get petrol along the whole way.
Yeah.
So you get about 400k into your tank. So we should be right with that. But we'll take a couple of jerry cans just to be safe.
Yes. You really do like to fly by your seat, don't you?
Oh, I think it's a good way to live your life.
Do you get nervous?
No. I got nervous once last year.
When?
Through South Africa.
Really?
Yeah. We walked through a place called Marikana. Mm-hmm. And that was where 50 miners were shot and killed by police a few years back during protests. And I didn't know the history of the place until I got there. And in South Africa, you had to stay in hostels the whole way through. You couldn't camp out like you did in Namibia and Botswana for safety reasons.
Right.
And we stayed at this place one night and they said, look, don't walk through there. It's not safe. So I thought to myself, well, I can't say I walked across Africa and not do this 4 or 5 kilometre stretch.
Yeah.
So I said to Wendy, we got as close as we could to this area called Marikana, and I said, look, you drive through for 10k. If I'm not there in a couple of hours, call the police. Yeah, as I said, 50 miners been shot and killed. A couple of weeks earlier, there'd been riots coming up to the election, local election. So what they do is they dig up the highway.
Oh, really?
And stop all the cars and rob them. So yeah, there's a bit of a worry going through there.
And what? So what does it look like? Like, why is it so dangerous through that?
Very basic village.
Right.
Yeah, they're still sort of at war with the government and what happened previously.
Did you have any problems?
Well, luckily no. I had my soccer ball under one arm. It was a 4 kilometre stretch and I walked it as quick as I could. I almost got to the other side and there was just 3 people on the side of the road trying to hitch a ride. And you could see them talking amongst each other and I felt really uncomfortable. I thought, geez, I'm in trouble here. They started to walk towards me and I thought, oh, geez, what am I going to do? But luckily, someone had stopped and picked them up. So they
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for that. I don't know what would have happened otherwise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And are there any? So in Namibia, it's pretty safe from south to north.
I think
Yeah, you should be okay.
Pretty safe.
There's no sketchy zones where you're having to get through.
Just the desert lines is the only real issue, but I think there's only 150 of them left. So if we do come across one, we're very, very unlucky.
Or lucky.
We're lucky.
Or lucky.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky if we survive it, but unlucky if we don't.
So now the desert lions, are they what? They look like regular lions, or are
Yeah,
they?
they do.
And they dead set live out in the desert
Yeah, there's
on
desert.
sand dunes and.
Yeah. desert lions and desert elephants. They've accustomed themselves over the years to
Really?
those conditions. Yeah.
What do they drink?
Well, they don't drink anything. They get all their moisture out of the food that they eat.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the lions eating other shit?
Well, along the skeleton coast, you get a lot of whale carcasses and seals that get washed up on the shore. So yeah, they
Wow.
a bit of that. Yeah.
Does the desert hit that skeleton coast, does it? It literally just bang. And so if you got washed up there, you
You got nothing.
got nothing. You have to
Where
cross.
the desert meets the sea.
Yeah, right. And you guys are just driving straight through. And so now, so following you on the journey, how often are you able to update the website?
Well, as often as we can. Yeah, we try. As soon as we get reception, we'll update it.
Yeah.
But yeah, every day if we can, but might be once a week. So we're not really on reception now.
And then on your previous trips, like what was the engagement like with your community? How did you engage with them? Was it Facebook? Was it the web? What was the main medium? Like how did you?
Mainly Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook was our main one. Facebook and Twitter. That's the best way to keep people up to date.
Yeah. It's a bit of a grind at the moment. Like with obviously I've got a business and trying to market it. Walk to a Better World. Is a fantastic brand. I love it. I think of your logo like a sweet, the Lion King meets, foreign aid thing. Like it's got a beautiful feel to it. How difficult has it been from the business perspective of Walk to a Better World?
It's hard to market it here in Australia. As we touched on before, Australians aren't really that interested in helping the world's poor. So it's really hard to sort of market it here in Australia. In Africa, you get a lot of support. As soon as we get to Namibia, we'll be on Good Morning Namibia. We were last time, they want us on again. Yeah. It's really easy to get publicity over there because they want to live in a country where there's no problem.
And what about raising funds once you're over there? Is the exposure that you get in Namibia, does that assist you raising funds through the campaigns?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I think we put it up on our Facebook page and stuff like that, and people sort of feel connected to it.
Yeah. And so you're talking about the Australians, more of a difficult crowd to get behind it. You've had a little bit of exposure here. On your one across the country, you ended up on Sunrise.
Yeah.
How much exposure were you getting in the traditional media forms here on your last walk?
Across Africa?
Yeah.
Not a real lot. We had a few newspaper articles, a few radio interviews, etc. But that was about it. And
in terms of, the fundraising side of it, you're finding that there's a lot more international interest in it?
A little bit of international interest. Mainly small businesses.
Yeah.
We get small businesses to sponsor us $550 and they sponsor a day of the walk.
Yeah.
So what they do, that name goes up on our website. On that day we share it through all our social media, saying they're a sponsor of the walk.
Yeah.
And present them with one of the soccer balls that I kicked across Africa last year with a little plaque of appreciation.
Yeah, right.
So we'll do something similar this year.
Local Canberra guys?
Local Canberra ones.
That's
a
cool.
few from Adelaide, a couple from Melbourne.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so in terms of that sponsorship concept, local businesses supporting obviously a local business owner as well. Individuals can get involved. I take it through the Is it on GoFundMe?
Well, yeah, we've got a Chuff campaign, very similar to GoFundMe.
Yep.
Yeah, so we've got two projects up there at the moment.
Yep.
This year, we've got one through Empower, which will be, as we mentioned before, providing better food security through Namibia through permaculture.
Yeah.
And in Zimbabwe through Caritas, we've got a water and sanitation program.
Caritas.
Yeah, that's a Catholic sort of charity.
Okay.
They do some fantastic work. So we're really careful with the two charities that we align ourselves with, just to make sure that they're legit and as much money possible goes towards the projects.
How bad is that, or good is that, in terms of different charities that you've come across in the past 5 years?
It's not as bad as what people think.
Because the reputation is, to be fair to say, is bad at the moment, isn't it? That we get, you're at shopping centres and you're just like 95% of it would go to administration. Yeah. Is it not as bad as what you're saying?
No, not at all. The ones that we partner with, there's like 13% that goes to administration.
Wow, that's pretty solid.
So there's only 87% goes to the field, which is great.
Yep.
And people go, they spend all their money on advertising. But they don't realise that through advertising, for every $1 they spend on advertising, they get another $7 through the door in donations.
Yes.
So it's a really important part of their marketing campaign.
Yeah. So they basically should just increase their advertising campaigns, to be honest. If you're getting multiples of it, just keep it going. So you're with Caritas and Empower. How did you come across them, and how did you have you met with the actual people that are at Caritas?
Yep.
And where are they based out of?
They're based here in Sydney.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been up several times to meet them.
Yeah.
I know the CEO pretty well. He's a Canberra boy.
How did they get into it?
In what way?
Well, what was their journey? What was Caritas's journey to form Caritas?
I think it was more a religious sort of based thing. They just saw a need in the world and thought we need to do something.
Yeah. Do they do missions as well, of spreading?
A little bit,
right.
But it's more focused on the ground, just help people out of poverty.
Yeah, cool.
The mission part is very, very minimal.
Right. And same with Malawi, is that very much focused on just on the ground, or is that a Christian organisation as well?
It's just focused on the ground.
Yeah, cool.
I met the founder of Empower Malawi when I finished my walk across Australia.
Where are they based?
Here in Sydney as well.
Yeah.
So a lovely fella.
Yeah.
His father is from Sri Lanka and his mother's from Malawi.
Yeah, what's his name?
Chanel, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname.
Chanel's fine.
Chanel Shakarakanam, or something like that.
Yeah. And so his family's from Malawi?
Yeah, well, I think his mother or father's from Malawi.
Yeah, cool. And how did you come across them? So in Malawi?
He just met us. He came to our finishing event here in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
And he came up, introduced himself, and sort of been in contact ever since.
There you go. And same with Caritas?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So networking with those groups, and how many of these charitable organisations are you getting involved with in terms of secondary or down the line? Like, are you planning a long way forward?
We're probably going to stay with these two for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
We've just started up our own charity called Towards a Better World. So we've got a board and things like that.
Oh, wow.
So the idea is we'll do the fundraising.
Yep.
And then we'll align with charities that we think give the best bang for their buck.
Yes.
And fund certain projects through those charities.
So you're basically project managing, so to speak, the funds that your things will supply. That's good. And that's going to be a Canberra-based charity. Yeah. And what's it called again?
Towards a Better World. Towards
a Better World. Cool. When did you kick that off?
Oh, about 3 months ago, in Austin.
Yeah, right. Beautiful. And in terms of drawing upon, people to get on the board, people, are you looking for people to get involved with that?
To get on the board, we're pretty happy with the board we've got at the moment.
Yep.
But we're always open to people who can bring different skill sets to the board.
Yep.
So I think that's really important.
Do you have events down in Canberra that you...
Yeah, we do. We have a few events, like we had a trivia night the other night that raised $5,000.
Yeah, wow.
We're looking at new events going forward as well.
Yeah. You're really, you're going to have to give up your day job.
Mate, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to be able to get out my day job and do this full time, but still got to pay the bills, unfortunately. So
what is when on our drive over, you were talking about that you feel as though you feel like you need a change?
Yeah, I'd like a change. Ideally, I'd love to run tours across the Namib Desert. So the walk across the Namib Desert could be about 2 weeks, but I'd love to do it with camels or donkeys. So take corporates across and just sort of a personal building exercise. So it'd be really tough through the desert, but be really rewarding. Yeah, cool. Are you using this as an opportunity to try to flush that out in terms of, you're going to have a lot of time to think? Yeah, definitely. So we'll meet with the proper authorities over there in Namibia. Yep. They're very precious up the Namib Desert. Yes. So getting permits to go through there is pretty tough. Yeah, right. But hopefully we can talk to the right people and they can... And are we talking you might relocate? Potentially. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Maybe one day. Yes. Yeah, I could certainly see myself living in South Africa or Namibia. Yeah. Is it, and again, is it part of that broader, desire to make a change, or is it the lifestyle elements, or a bit of both? Oh, it'd be a bit of both, but more making a change. I think it's easier to make a change when you're actually over there. Yeah. It's sort of so far away. Do you get frustrated by that thing when you're here? A little bit. I do get really frustrated by Australia's attitude towards the world's poor. Yeah. You've got a famine going on in the moment in East Africa, which is absolutely awful. Yeah. People are dying of starvation, yet we've cut our foreign aid to its lowest level ever. We've got more people displaced in the world now than any time since World War II. We're literally shutting our borders.
Yeah.
And yet we're the 7th least populated country in the world. And we've got the money, the wealth to be able to help those people. We're just turning our backs on them, which is really frustrating. We're a better country than that. I would have thought anyway.
Yeah. So now thinking about, you know, moving forward and you know, making that change, you don't have kids?
No, we couldn't have kids.
How does that?
Yeah, it was sort of a bit tough to take at first. We found out, I think it was about 18 months after we were married, we were trying to have kids and nothing was happening.
Yeah.
And then, we went and got tested and we said, we can't have kids. So for me personally, I probably got over it in about 24 hours. Like, I really wanted kids. But being religious, I sort of thought, well, no, this is a sign to do something else in your life.
Yes.
Focus yourself on helping the other kids in the world that sort of don't have the same opportunities that we had.
Yeah.
It took my wife a little longer to get over it. Yeah. But we're pretty happy with the direction our life's taken now.
You know, it's one of those things, like, you know, when people have kids, you know, often they talk about life before and life after and this awakening. But a lot of the time, kids are just part of the journey. You know, like it's not like this amazing realisation of anything. I'd say it's probably the majority of people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You see some people say, having kids was the best thing we ever did, and others they're just not happy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'd like to have been a parent. Like, a lot of my mates now, they've all got kids and stuff like that, so you get out of the pub with them, catch up with them, and they're talking about kids, what they're at school, and you're sort of a bit left out in the conversation. But that happens.
Have you, in terms of that, have you felt that? Do you have any other friends that have, you know, who are in a similar situation? Because we're all leaving kids a lot later these days, aren't we? And I think that the amount of, you know, dinks, double income, no kids, not out of choice, but out of, that's just how it is. I think it's increasing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Do most of your mates have kids?
Yeah, most of them do. Yeah, I've got a couple of good mates. I've got a good mate of mine, he's only 23, but we get along really well. And him and his missus are talking about not having kids at all. So
just out of choice?
Yeah, just out of choice.
Yeah. In terms of your relationship with Wendy and not having kids, did it take some time for you as a couple to, you know, move on together?
I think it does, because I think a lot of people have kids and you sort of bring the child up together. Yeah. But when you don't have kids, you sort of lead a bit of a separate life. Yeah. We still do a lot of stuff together, but little things that we just sort of do a bit on our own now.
Because you can.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
You live a bit more of an independent life.
Is this unifying you guys? Has it been something that has this become your baby?
I think it probably has. Yeah, we're both extremely passionate about it. Wendy spends so much time on it behind the scenes. She's fantastic with the support she does. And allowing me to do what I do. They say behind every good bloke there's a better woman, and this is certainly a case of that.
Does she like you taking the limelight?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes she gives those little smart comments, it's all about you, isn't it? It's not. But it's like, I'm not in it for the limelight at all. Yeah. I'm in it just to try and help the world's poor. Yeah. I prefer not to have to do this kind of stuff, but I see it as a moral obligation. Yeah.
What do you see moving, you know, in terms of your grandiose plans for this? Like, you know, where's your point Z? Where are you taking this to? You know, can you give us the, I'm not going to give up on?
Well, I've turned 40 this year, and I think as soon as I turned 40, it sort of like flicked a switch. I sort of feel like I get a little bit older all of a sudden. But I want to try and do something every year till I'm 50. Yeah. Do one of those awareness raising campaigns and raise funds and do that. We've already got plans in store for next year, which is really exciting.
Can you shed some light on that?
I can. We haven't launched it yet, but happy to share it with you.
Yes.
We're looking at doing the world's longest ever triathlon.
I love it. I love
it. Yeah. Which is interesting. I won't be swimming, I'll be kayaking instead of swimming. Yes. So we're going to start in Stockholm.
Can we talk you into swimming?
Shoulder's no good.
Right.
And I'm not a strong swimmer.
What happened to your shoulder?
I popped it playing footy a couple of years back.
Yeah, okay.
Too old to play footy, I know. I thought I'd just play one game just with a few mates, and second quarter, boom, got tackled, the shoulder popped out, and that was it.
Spion. Yeah. Were you going in for a dangerous ball or something?
Well, no, I got a mark. It was over 15 metres, and the umpire didn't say it was 15, so I was just standing, and this bloke came and crunched me.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, that was
Lovely. Yeah. Umpire didn't say it was 15.
Rubbish. Never been a big fan of umpires.
So you're kayaking where? Where's it going from?
So here we go, we stay in Stockholm.
Wow.
So we follow the Baltic Sea down Sweden.
How many kilometres is that going to be for the kayak?
About 1,000.
Jeez.
So you Sweden, Denmark, follow the coast, and we come across the top of Germany, a place called Lübeck. We get out of the kayak, and then we're going to walk through Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and finish up in Rome, which is about 1,850k.
Yeah.
And the plan at the moment is from there to go to Cairo, and then cycle from Cairo all the way down to Cape Town, which is about 11,500k. Obviously got a few safety issues in Cairo, Sudan, Ethiopia.
Bloody
At the
hell.
moment. So we've just sort of got to play that by ear. And
11,000 kilometre bike ride.
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's more ridiculous when you think about it. You can't train for it.
Your nurse is going to be...
Yeah. It's going to be tough.
How are you going, Ali?
Good. I might reset there.
Yep. Your nurse is going to die.
Yeah. Almost did it cross. I was on the first cycle.
Did you have like... Hang on. Are you on?
Yeah.
Mate, so 11,000 kilometre bike ride, your bum's going to get sore.
Yeah, you certainly get saddle sores, that's for sure.
Did you get saddle sores on the...
Yeah, I did.
What is this? Can you explain to our health viewers what a saddle sore is?
They're like welts on your butt.
Really?
Yeah, they're not much fun. It's like if you ever play paintball and you get smashed with a paintball and leaves a big welt there. So riding with them's not a lot of fun at all.
Does your dogan, I call it my dogan, it's the, the bit in between them, both spots.
Yeah.
Does that just swell up after a few days?
Oh, a little bit. I've got a really comfy bike seat, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that.
What about your neck?
Yeah, that does play up a little bit.
Yeah.
You're
always up in extension.
Yeah, it's something you sort of got to keep in mind.
At the end of the ride, did your neck just cope with it and it was fine?
Gets used to it. Your
Yeah.
body adapts quite well.
Yeah.
It's always the first week or 2 weeks on these things that are the toughest. And if you can get through them, you're halfway there.
Yeah. So, let's get into the health of it now. So, your bike ride, any injuries? Like, you went in pretty fresh. Obviously, doing up to 100 Ks, but that's not a 4,000 kilometre bike ride. What injuries did you face? How did your body cope? It was a couple of weeks in.
Yeah, the body coped relatively well. Obviously, your thighs and that, they're just like 2 cork thighs most of the time, but you just get through that.
Yeah.
I had a few issues with my left knee. On that day I was talking about where I rode to Nullarbor Roadhouse, I got out of the saddle to pedal a bit harder. I heard this big crack in my knee, which sort of kept that sore for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, right. It was with you every day for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just kept on telling myself, like, the ride doesn't end here.
Yeah. Death before DNF.
Yeah,
there you
so
go.
much truth to that.
Yeah. Now, and walking wise, it's just blister mad, I'd imagine.
Yeah, awful. First 2 weeks walking across Australia, the blisters were out of control. It was insane. I started on the 2nd of February. I'll give you a little tip. If you ever want to walk across Australia, don't start then. Middle of summer, dumb idea. So 13...
Oversight or a necessity because of work?
Oh, oversight.
Oversight.
13 of the first 14 days were 40 degrees plus.
And your feet were sweating there, right? Like, yep.
And one a day topped out at 45.
Wow.
So feet were literally covered in blisters. The amount of bandages that we put on.
Like bleeding, starting to bleed?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
All toes?
Awful. You'd have a little blister on the bottom of every toe.
Yeah.
The balls of your feet would have 2 or 3 blisters on it.
Yeah.
Your heels. Yeah.
You're just walking through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you warm up, does it back off or?
A little bit, but not a lot.
Oh,
you know what it's like walking with blisters.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do it 50k day in, day out. It's bloody hard.
So what did the blisters eventually just pop and back off? Like what?
They did. We'd pop them as soon as they started to develop. We'd pop them and put dressings on them.
Yes.
But we even had blisters growing through our calluses, which was just insane.
Did you get that as well in Africa on your walk?
Not as bad. We had some blisters the first week or so.
What was the difference? Footwear, heat.
Yeah, because walking in Australia, 40 degrees, there's so much moisture going into your socks.
Yes.
Just dripping down your body.
And what kind of socks are you wearing? Are you wearing real thin ones or?
Well, I was just wearing normal sneaker socks. Just yeah.
Have you tried different
I've got
flavours?
different socks this year.
Yes.
Those bamboo socks.
Yes.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, right. And so have you, and the footwear that you're wearing, sneakers or walking shoes? What are you sporting?
My first 2 walks across Africa and Australia were just normal sneakers.
Yep.
But this year I've gone to a Solomon, which is a walking
Yeah.
shoe.
So this is your first kind of technical gear stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully they go all right. I've done
Yeah.
a fair bit of training in them.
Yeah,
They sound
cool.
pretty good.
And Kathmandu are helping you out?
Yeah, they are. They're sponsoring us this year, which is great.
Yeah, brilliant. And so you've got some technical outerwear, technical pants and stuff like that?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And so now what are you most nervous about on this particular trip?
I'm not nervous about too much. Probably just the wildlife in northern Namibia.
Yeah.
It's always a worry when you're walking. You know there's that off chance that you can get attacked.
Are you worried about the finances at all?
In what way?
In terms
Our
of
finances?
No, in terms of raising money. Are you worried about not getting there?
We'll get there this year.
You'll get there?
Yeah, we've got some sponsors already on board.
Cool.
We run charity garage sales from home, which is something that we've done
that?
for the last 3 or 4 years. So what we do every month, or every fortnight at the moment, we run a garage sale from our house,
Yeah, wow.
and people donate stuff to us.
Yep.
So over the last 4 years, I think we've raised about 80,000,
Holy crap.
which is amazing. So we've got about 15, 20,000 of that that's going to go towards our projects this year as well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
yeah, it is.
And I feel as though the rest of us are feeling pretty lazy right now. How much of your weekends are spent doing this? Nights?
It's literally a full-time job. It is. We're pretty much exhausted, which is really tough.
Yeah.
I'd love to get a major sponsor on board that sort of gave us a bit of a chop out each year.
Yeah.
Like even like 20 grand a year or something, just give us a massive boost.
Yeah.
That can pay for our trips, so we don't have to work so much in our own business. Just gives us more time to focus on what we really want to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where you're heading in terms of you think you'll try to get more exposure and be able to bring on one of those
hopefully.
nights?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan going forward.
But it's kind of hard because you obviously need to make sure that they're aligned with all of your values, etc. as well.
Yeah.
And then you're an ambassador for them, they are for you. It is difficult getting somebody for the long haul like that. But mate, it sounds like you're doing everything.
We're doing all we can. We're just hoping each walk will open up a few more doors.
Yeah.
Next year with the world's longest ever triathlon, the exposure you're going to get through Europe and Africa.
It'd be pretty intense, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you going to frame that from a marketing perspective?
I think using the world's longest ever triathlon, so it's never been done before.
Yeah.
So we're sort of going to frame it that way.
Yeah. And you got some Europeans coming with you on the support crew?
No, it's only probably going to be me and Wendy again. So we're talking about doing the kayak league self-supported, so we're just going to kayak and not have a support vehicle.
Yep.
But through Europe we'll have to have a support vehicle walking so far.
Yeah.
And in Africa, as I said, we're purchasing this vehicle this year, and a few mates are going to drive from Namibia up to Egypt for us next year.
Really?
For them,
How good's that?
yeah. Help
And
us out.
how far is that, Namibia to Egypt?
About 10,000
Wow. That'll be a massive trip for the boys to get up there as well.
Yeah.
Get the friends to get up there.
Yeah, they're looking forward to it.
That's insane. They'll have to almost go through the same trip planning that you do, except they'll get there a bit quicker.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a good way for them to see Africa. It's a fantastic opportunity for them.
Yeah. Mate, Wendy must read a few books.
She does.
She must be a voracious reader.
Yeah, she enjoys it.
Leapfrogging, you're walking non-stop.
She does do a lot though. If she's not treating my blisters, she's setting up camp or packing up the tent.
Yeah.
Looks after breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty full-on job for her.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Very good. Mate, is there anything you wanted to, get through in terms of any messages you wanted out there?
Oh, not really. I think what we've sort of covered. It's just one thing I'm a big fan of is sort of being a global citizen. Doing what's in the world's best interest, not just our own.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of countries around the world now sort of going to protectionism. It's all about us, like with Donald Trump, and you've got one nation here.
Yeah.
You've got to look beyond that. We are one race. We are all part of the human race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of being more of a global citizen going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. All right, mate. Good luck with it, eh?
Fantastic.
It's going to be ridiculous. Thanks for having the conversation with us. And we will lend our support. We'll make sure we get this up on social. We'll pop the links, etc., hopefully in the bios and everything. Ali might even pop something up to show the journey overlaid, hopefully. And mate, we'll make sure the word gets out.
Fantastic, thanks for that.
Cool, no worries.
Good
Thanks,
to see
mate.
ya.
Likewise.